Managing Airbnb revenue isn't just about adjusting a few numbers in price labs. It's about strategy, timing, and tackling every detail to scale smart. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I manage revenue across my portfolio and how it drives consistent long-term growth. So I work with a full-time revenue manager that's going to be inside my Price Labs account on a daily basis, and it's completely changed how I think about dynamic pricing. And here's what I've learned from working with him. So in the past, I really only managed my Price Labs just by changing this base rate and my minimum rate, and then just taking a look at what my calendar looks like and seeing how my metrics compare to the market. And if I see here that I'm at 20% occupied when the market's at 40%, I would drop my base price. And if I see here that I'm at 80% and the market's at 40%, I would increase my base price. But now what we do is we've gotten more intentional by going over to the neighborhood data and scrolling down and taking a look at our market booking window, because this is going to tell me which dates should be booked on my calendar based off of what month it is. And you can see here in the month of June, people are only planning 18 days in advance. Compared to August, they're planning 62 days in advance. So applying the same strategy when to drop and increase prices wouldn't make any sense in this case, ultimately just because they're two completely different types of booking windows. In addition to that, I used to have the same set of customizations as far as my minimum nightly stay. This is how long I'm requiring people to book for. What we've also done is if we go over here to the market length of stay, we can see the average time that people are actually booking reservations throughout the year. So I can then go in and I can customize this based off of the month. You can see in the month of October, people are averaging 6 nights per stay. But in the month of May, and I also used to use the same minimum night restrictions throughout the entire year at my property. Now we've gone in here and we can take a look at the market length of stay and see that October, people average staying for 3 nights at these properties, when the rest of the year it's 2. In this specific market, it's pretty average, but in some of the markets I'm investing in, some it's 2 and some it's 5. So we certainly should be requiring people to stay longer in the months where those averages are higher. And this is all because we don't just want bookings, we want the right bookings at the right time. Another thing that I like about this revenue manager is he uses Price Labs as a tool, but he still manually sets the pricing for every day of the year. And you can see what it does is it provides consistency. So you can see here on these weekend dates, you could see he's priced these at $14.99, $12.99, $13.99. And then the weekdays are individually priced as well. And this consistency is allowing me to look back on previous months and previous years to see what we rented for and how far out in advance it was booked. And then we can compare that to the booking window and then make logical decisions next year on where we should price our property and when we should expect it to get booked. Because prior to this, if I was just using Price Labs alone, I might get the same ADR, but maybe Friday was priced at $800 and Saturday was priced at $1,700. And that inconsistency there is ultimately going to not allow me to have enough data next year to make good decisions. And all of this allows us to not only maximize profits in real time, but look back and plan better in the future with real insights. Okay, part 2 of this video is going to be my weekly meetings with my revenue manager and what we cover. So every week I meet with my revenue manager and this is what we review. The first thing we look at is every reservation that came in since the last time that we met. So what we can do is we can go over to Guesty, we can click reservations, and then we can actually filter to only display the dates since the last time we met. And this way we can go through each reservation together and talk about it. And specifically right now in my portfolio, what I'm primarily focusing on is the average length of stay. You know, personally, I am trying to increase the average time that people are booking my homes and get away from the 1 and the 2 night reservations. So if I do get a 1 or 2 night reservation, we look at that heavily and we talk about, hey, why did this happen and what can we do to help prevent this in the future? And then we'll take a look at the bigger reservations, the 6, 7, 8 night stays and say, hey, how are we priced accordingly here? And what can we do to get more of these in the future? And then another thing that I'm looking at is how far out are people booking? I'm trying to fill my calendars further out into the year, especially during the slower seasons. I want to rack up those reservations now so I can increase my occupancy when it comes closer to those times without having to drop my rates to the floor. So I'm looking at how many of our reservations came in last minute and how many of our reservations were far out into the future. And then we can dig deeper into the reservations that were far out and figure out, hey, what can we do to try and get more of these? So after we review those reservations, then my revenue manager updates me on any market trends that he's seeing. And right now, something we're talking about is the tariffs and the local economy and how that might be affecting regional travel. And then lastly, we'll wrap up with any questions I've got for him. And typically what I'll do is I'll just go through each individual property and I'm going to look at these metrics over here on the right-hand side. So this is going to tell me how my property compares to the competition over the next 7 days. In this case, you can see here, I'm at 29%, market's at 41%. Now over the next 7 days, this isn't a whole lot of data because just one night can throw off the entire, setting here. I'm more interested in the 30 days and the 60 days. So in this case here, we could see my property is 5% behind the overall market for the next 30 days. So I'd probably have a question on that and say, hey, what are you seeing? What can we do differently to fill some more of these dates? And then you can see here over the next 60 days, I'm at 40%, market's at 25. So I'm feeling pretty good long term. But hey, are there any last minute discounts we need to apply over the next 30 days to help increase the occupancy at this place? And that there is a pretty good idea on how those weekly meetings go with him. All right, and just to finish up, I'm going to leave you with 3 lessons that every new investor should know, especially when it comes to pricing. Number 1 is just a reminder to buy a good deal in the first place. Because the truth is, no amount of revenue management or even operations or managing your property can compensate if you just buy a bad deal in the first place. So when you're buying your first property, make sure it's a good one, make sure you do all your due diligence and you fully understand the analyzer, prior to committing to that property. Number 2 is when you're dealing with revenue management, give those changes a week before trying anything new. Because a lot of times these changes in price labs, it does take a few days to gain a little traction. And if you're in there daily or every other day and you do get something to work, you might not be able to know what worked and what didn't, so you can do more of the good stuff. And number 3, just work with a professional. Even after owning 19 Airbnbs and being in this business for 4.5, 5 years, I still pay someone to be in my Price Labs accounts on a daily basis because I understand the ROI is 100% there. Not only can you get a good revenue manager for a few $100s a month when they will easily make you $500, $600, $700, $800, $1,000 more, but just as importantly, not only are you increasing revenue, but you're also increasing the quality of your guest with a good revenue strategy. Because again, when you're booking further out in advance and you're in line with those lead to booking times, that's when the highest quality people are booking. If you're constantly having to drop your prices closer to check-in date, you're only going to be renting to people who are looking for those last minute discounts or planning their trips on a whim. And in return, you're going to have more headaches, more damage to your units. And in general, you're just going to have less quality individuals staying in your homes. So if you already own an Airbnb and you're looking for someone to help you manage your revenue and an expert to lean on when you have questions, or if you're looking to buy your first Airbnb, I'd invite you to book a free deal planning call below. There's no pressure, but you could share your story, let us know what you're looking for, and if we think we can help you, we can walk you through exactly how we're supporting new Airbnb investors through their current and future deals. So just click on the link below and book that free deal planning call, and we look forward to connecting with you soon.